It's a very interesting and yet very disturbing article I came across in Mint Press News. I'll link it down below. Tomato gardeners, the latest victim in the government's war on drugs. Merely growing, I'll move this so you can see it. Merely growing a vegetable garden on your own property or in a greenhouse on your property or shopping in a gardening store for gardening supplies, incredibly enough, could set you up for a drug raid sanctioned by the courts. America. Real fucking shithole country. Trump was wrong. It's the United States that is the shithole country, but obviously that runs completely opposite of the whole MAGA narrative, so whatever. Journal entry from a California resident describes the government's aerial searches for marijuana plants. They came again this morning at about 8 o'clock. A large cargo-type helicopter flew low over the cabin, shaking it on its very foundation. It shook all of us inside, too. I feel frightened. I see how helpless and tormented I'm becoming with disgust and disillusionment with the government, which has turned this beautiful country into a police state. I feel like I'm in the middle of a war zone. Taxpayer dollars hard at work. Can't get universal health care, can't get tuition-free college, can't get a Green New Deal, but we got bundles upon bundles of unlimited cash and resources to brutalize, oppress, and surveil. They're right, we live in a police state. It's disgusting. Backyard gardeners beware. Tomato plants have become collateral damage in the war on drugs, especially marijuana. In fact, again, this is merely growing a vegetable garden or in a greenhouse, your property, or shopping at a gardening store for gardening supplies, incredibly enough, could set you up for a drug raid sanctioned by the courts. Again, sanctioned by the courts. It's happened before. After shopping for hydroponic tomatoes at their local gardening store, Kansas family found themselves subjected to a SWAT team raid. This is for shopping for hydroponic tomatoes. I mean, this country's just so fucking out of whack. It's like, it's almost comical at this point if it wasn't just so disturbing, the amount of oppression and brutalization that the state foists upon people each day. And largely, again, the most oppressed and marginalized are always the most brutalized and oppressed as well. Subjected to SWAT team raid as part of their multi-state annual campaign dubbed Operation Constant Garden, in which police collected the license plates of hundreds of customers at the gardening store and then investigated them for possible marijuana possession. Again, this is for fucking marijuana, for fuck's sake. I mean, goddamn. Literal fucking plant that does what? You get high and you get the munchies, or you have medical marijuana to help you with medical conditions. Like, what the fuck? It's a plant. Tobacco's legal. Alcohol is legal. Those do so much more harm. And again, I don't want to make those legal, obviously. I want to legalize all drugs, treat it from a harm reduction perspective. But again, supposedly the United States is the land of the free, right? Or that's what we like to tell ourselves, or that's what our elected officials like to tell us. Yeah, the United States, land of the free, home of the brave, all that fucking American exceptionalist bullshit. But how can you be truly free if at the very fucking least you can't consume fucking marijuana? It's fucking ridiculous. By investigate, I mean that police search through the family's trash. You can thank the Supreme Court in their 1978 ruling in California v. Greenwood for allowing police to invade your trash can. Goddamn. Finding wet glob vegetation in the garbage, the cops somehow managed to convince themselves and a judge that it was marijuana. In fact, it was loose leaf tea, but those pesky details don't usually bother the cops when they're conducting field tests. Indeed, field tests routinely read positive for illegal drugs even when no drugs are present. According to investigative journalist Radley Balco, quote, "It's almost as if these tests come up positive whenever the police need them to." A partial list of substances that the tests have mistaken for illegal drugs will include sage, chocolate chip cookies, motor oil, spearmint, soap, tortilla dough, deodorant, billboards chalk, patchouli, flour, eucalyptus, breath mints, Jolly Ranchers, and vitamins. Jesus fucking, goddamn. Defund and abolish the police. Nobody should be getting fucking subjected to this bullshit for literally having fucking chocolate chip cookies, patchouli, Jolly Ranchers, tortilla dough. For fuck's sake. It's disgusting. End the war on drugs. Defund and abolish the police. There's no other solution. There's a long list of ingredients that could be mistaken for drugs and get you subjected to raid, because that's all it takes. Just the barest whiff of a suspicion by police that you might be engaged in criminal activity to start the ball rolling. From there, these so-called investigations follow the usual script. Judge issues a warrant for a SWAT raid based on botched data. Cops raid the home and terrorize the family at gunpoint. Cops find no drugs. Family sues over violation of the Fourth Amendment rights, and then the courts protect the cops and their botched raid on the basis of qualified immunity. Obviously, qualified immunity, need to get rid of that shit as well. Happens all the time, as Balco reports. Police have broken doors, screamed obscenities, held innocent people at gunpoint. Breonna Taylor, they went no-knock raid on the wrong fucking apartment, shoot her dead. What jack shit's happened to those cops, right? Held innocent people at gunpoint only to discover that they thought were marijuana plants were really sunflowers, hibiscus, ragweed, tomatoes, or elderberry bushes. It's happened with all five. Surely you might think the government has enough on its hands right now, policing a novel coronavirus pandemic, instituting nationwide lockdowns, quelling civil unrest, or police brutality that doesn't need to waste time and resources ferret out pot farmers. You'd be wrong. This is a government that excels at make work projects in which it assigns at times necessary jobs to government agents to keep them busy or employed. In this case, however, the make work principle translation, making it work to keep the police state busy, taxpayer expenses used to justify sending police and expensive military helicopters, likely equipped with sophisticated surveillance and thermal imaging devices on exploratory sorties every summer, again at taxpayer expense, in order to cover illegal marijuana growing operations. You really want to tackle illegal marijuana growing operations? Legalize it, okay? Legalized it here in Washington State. Okay, crime, all that shit hasn't gone up. The government's been able to generate literally billions in tax revenue as a result. And again, I think to truly legalize it, you obviously need to be able to grow marijuana at your home, something that you can't do in Washington without a medical marijuana card. Often, however, that these air and ground searchers end up targeting our backyard gardeners growing tomato plants. Just recently, in fact, eyewitnesses in Virginia reported low-flying black helicopters buzzing over rural and suburban neighborhoods as part of a multi-agency operation to search for marijuana growers. Goddamn. It's fucking marijuana. It's an amazing, amazing plant. I haven't been using it much recently, but it's an amazing, amazing plant. God. One woman reported having her tomato plants complimented by the 7 cops that pulled up in my yard in unmarked SUVs after a helicopter hovered over our house for 20 minutes this morning. Another man reported a similar experience from a few years ago when police showed up in unmarked SUVs with guns pulled. Then the cops on the ground argued with the helicopter because the heat signature in the copter didn't match what was growing. Jesus Christ. Back in 2013, an aerial surveillance mission spotted what police thought might be marijuana plants. 2 days later, dozens of city officials, SWAT team, police officers, and code compliance employees in numerous official vehicles, including dozens of police cars and several specialized vehicular equipment, including helicopters and unmanned flying drones, descended on the Garden of Eden, a 3.5-acre farm in Arlington, Texas, for a 10-hour raid in search for marijuana that turned up nothing more than tomato, blackberry, and okra plants. Huge, massive waste of taxpayer dollars and resources. Turned out jack shit. Tomato, blackberry, and fucking okra. Oh my god. Called Domestic Cannabis Eradication Program. Local cops refer to the annual military maneuvers as Eradication Day. Jesus Christ. Started around the Reagan, 85. Started off with the National Guard. Jesus. I mean, it's just fucking... just disgusting. It's just disgusting. And then again, trying to track people down for shopping at garden centers and they're just growing fucking tomatoes. I mean, it's just... I'm not going to read all this because this is a lot, but you get the gist. End the war on drugs. Legalize all drugs. You're not truly free if you don't have the ability to put into your body what you want as a consenting adult, and obviously not giving it to kids, not, getting behind the wheel when you're intoxicated on whatever substance you like to put into your body. But it's fucking ridiculous. It's a travesty. And again, war on drugs disproportionately has impacted communities of color, other vulnerable and marginalized groups. Huge waste of money. And as well as, defund and abolish the police. As always, we don't need them going out there terrorizing people for growing fucking tomato plants. It's a travesty. It's a travesty. Peace.